With us to help figure it all out, StoneX Chief Market Strategist Kathryn Rooney Vera. And, all right, so KRV, you actually have, you say the demand factors that were already in place for a bullish move in oil. But now we've got all of these supply question marks, right, that are potentially could move it one way or the other. We put a list of some that you shared with us. So we'll start with, though, the retaliation that's going to happen real soon. The tit for tat, what do you think that does?
Geopolitical concerns are probably the leading cause of concern for a surge in oil prices, which in turn would cause a resurgence in inflation and would nip in the bud the market's anticipation of big Fed rate cuts.
The Fed couldn't look around that, couldn't say, okay, we understand why these prices are higher, or?
It could if it was unique only to geopolitical risks. But on top of it, we have, and I see it, actually it's not on here, is the Chinese stimuli. So if the Chinese stimuli doesn't in fact foment demand for commodities across the board, then that's more than just geopolitical risk. So there's a combination of variables that I think lead to an underpriced risk for a surge in oil prices, which would in turn take a toll on all sectors and asset classes that are interest rate sensitive.
You know, what's interesting is the initial announcement on the Chinese stimulus, the bazooka, moved commodities except oil, right? But now, if it's successful, it will move oil. You've got the dock workers strike there as well. Russia, Ukraine, which is not necessarily in the headlines, but I think that's become even more intense with Ukraine's decision to enter into Russia. It just feels like something, there's just so many things that something's going to get worse on this list and some other things, right?
Well, sure. And then we talk about the Strait of Hormuz. Even if there's a partial closure therein because of this conflagration in the Middle East with Iran and potential for a spreading of this turmoil to oil-producing countries, any partial closure of the Strait of Hormuz, yes, it would be temporary in effect, but it would cause a surge in inflation and would not allow the Fed to take rates too much lower from where they are today.
So where do you see West Texas Intermediate? Where do you see it going?
If we get a 35% increase, which is a 1 standard deviation from where we are today, we could see oil at $95 per barrel over the course of the next few months. Not the base case, but I think there's a good chance of it. I think the bottom line here is it's underpriced in the markets. Inflation expectations do not corroborate any risk of a surge in oil prices or in inflation. And I think portfolio managers would be very prudent to hedge for inflation risk going forward.
Viewers watching this, should they own an oil stock or some sort of an ETF then, just to have in their portfolio to be
Yes,
as well?
I think energy stocks make sense right now. If you own gold, you're doing great. I think have some amount of cash. Buy protection on your technology positions. I disagree maybe with your last guess. I think there is some downside risk for tech right now. My top performing sector call for this year was utilities. It's done fantastic. So I think I would take gains on utilities and start rotating into other underperforming sectors going forward.
You're being modest. Utilities have killed it.
Yes,
So, by the way, so is your gold call.
Yes.
All right, so we listened when you come in, and we appreciate it.
Very kind. Thank you, Charles.
Hopefully some of this stuff will simmer down.
Absolutely.
KRV, thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
See you soon.
Always a pleasure.
All right, folks.